एही कार्यक्रमर सह प्रायोजक हेले
Dear students, very good afternoon to all of you. Myself Bijaya Chaudhury and all the students simply call me Bijay sir. I am lecturing chemistry in the Jupiter Women's Higher Secondary School. So this is all about myself. In the previous class we have discussed regarding the gaseous state, what are the preliminary part of gaseous state, means what are the different properties of gas, what are the different characteristics of gas, and also various laws of gas, including laws of gas. Only one law we have discussed, that is Boyle's law. So आम पूर्व क्लास रे फर्स्ट बॉयल्स लॉ डिस्कशन करते रिगार्डिंग बॉयल्स लॉ ऑल दी एक्सप्लेनेटरी पार्ट ऑल्सो ग्राफिकल वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ बॉयल्स लॉ डिस्कशन करते जस्ट मु स्टार्ट करथले जस्ट चार्ल्स लॉ जस्ट इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट चार्ल्स मु स्टार्ट करिछि. सो टुडे वी हैव ऑल कंप्लीट रिगार्डिंग चार्ल्स लॉ. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट रिगार्डिंग चार्ल्स लॉ ऑफ गैसियस स्टेट. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट रिगार्डिंग चार्ल्स लॉ. सो ऑल ऑफ यू लिसन क्लियरली. Charles law. So again I will repeat that the statement of Charles law. Actually Gaseous Charles the scientist observed relationship between volume of given mass of gas with respect to temperature, keeping the pressure constant, and he states that if the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature. That means if V stands for volume and T stands for temperature, then according to Charles law, volume is directly proportional to temperature, keeping the pressure as well as number of mole, means mass is constant. Clear? So here that means V is directly proportional to T. So here proportionality symbol is there. So if we omit this proportionality symbol or if we eradicate this proportionality symbol, then obviously you have to substitute a constant, that is called proportionality constant. So this implies V is equal to K into T. Here K is called proportionality constant. So this implies V by T is equal to how much K? V by T is equal to K. So V stands for volume of the gas, T is the temperature, K is the proportionality constant. So V by T is equal to K. So suppose we take two different state of gas. So taking two different state of gas, you listen. This is the first state, that is state A. This is the state B. Clear? So this is the state A and this is the state B. So for the state A, initial state of volume is V1 having temperature T1. Similarly for state B, volume is V2 and temperature what? T2. Since pressure is taken to be constant, suppose here pressure is P1, obviously here pressure is P1. Since number of mole, that means mass is constant, so here also N1 and here also N1. So for the state A, we can write for state A, we can write V1 by T1 is equal to K. So here we can write for state A by applying this formula, V1 by T1 is equal to K. V1 by T1 is equal to K. Clear? For state A, V1 by T1 is equal to K. Similarly for state B, V2 by T2 is equal to K. For state B, V2 divided by T2 is equal to how much? K. So for state A, V1 by T1 is equal to K, and for state B, V2 by T2 is equal to K. So since K, that means RHS side, that is proportionally constant, is same, so we have to equalize the LHS side. So we can write this implies V1 divided by T1 is equal to how much? V2 divided by T2. So this is the first expression regarding Charles law, that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, where V1 be the volume of state A and V2 volume of state B, T1 temperature as well as temperature of state A and T2 the temperature of state B respectively, keeping the pressure as well as mass is taken to be constant. So this is the first relation regarding V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, that is the volume temperature relation. Again we derive a relation regarding temperature as well as density relation. What is the relation regarding Charles law? All of you listen. We know that volume, since volume is inversely proportional to density, that is V proportional to 1 by D. Since volume, because we know that density is nothing but mass by volume, so volume is equal to mass by density, so obviously volume is inversely proportional to density, so V proportional to 1 by D. So we can write this implies we can write V1, this implies we can write V1 proportional to 1 by D1 or V2 proportional to 1 by D2, clear. So V1 proportional to 1 by D1 and V2 proportional to 1 by D2. So by putting the value of V1 that is 1 by D1 and V2 that is 1 by D2 in the above expression, so this expression becomes this implies 1 by D1 divided by T1 is equal to 1 by D2 divided by कौन T2. देखो पिले आमे जेहेतु जानिचे वॉल्यूम इज इनवर्स प्रोपोर्शनल टू डेंसिटी, कारण डेंसिटी इज इक्वल मास बाय वॉल्यूम, सो ऑब्वियसली वॉल्यूम इज इक्वल मास बाय डेंसिटी हबो. सो इन प्लेस ऑफ V1 प्रोपोर्शनल 1 by D1 V2 प्रोपोर्शनल 1 by D2 आमे लिखि परिबा. से V1 और V2 रो मूल्य को आमे एक्सप्रेशन पकेबा बाय पुटिंग दिस वैल्यू V1 and V2 in the above expression. So we can write 1 by D1 divided by T1 is equal to 1 by D2 divided by what T2. So obviously this implies we can write 1 by D1 T1 is equal to 1 by D2 T2. So 1 cancel each other. So there is another formula, that is D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2, clear. So D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2. This is the density temperature relation. So D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2, clear. So there is two relation, that is volume temperature relation, that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, and also another relation, that is D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2, clear. So this is the two expression regarding Charles law. ମୁଁ ପିଲେ ଆଉ ଥରେ ରିମାइंड कर दउछि. So today we have discussed regarding the Charles law. According to Charles law, if the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature. So V directly proportional to T, where V stands for volume of gas and T stands for temperature of gas. Here proportional symbol is there. If you omit this proportional symbol, then we have to substitute a constant. So obviously V is equal to K into T. Here K is called proportionality constant. So this implies V by T is equal to K. Suppose we have to take two states, that is state A and state B. State A volume V1 and temperature T1, state B volume V2 and temperature T2. Since pressure as well as number of mole is taken to be constant, so here P1 and also here N1 and also here also N1. So for state A we can write V1 by T1 is equal to K. Similarly for state B we can write V2 by T2 is equal to what? K. So V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Since K is equalize RHS side, we have to equalize the LHS side. So this is the first expression. So first expression है हमारा V1 by T1 is equal to how much? V2 by T2. Again we know that density is equal to mass by volume, or volume is equal to mass by density. So obviously volume is inversely proportional to density, that is V proportional to 1 by D. So we can write आमे लिखि परिबा V1 proportional to 1 by D1, also V2 proportional to 1 by D2. So in place of V1 we can write 1 by D1, and in place of V2 we can write 1 by D2. So the expression that is 1 by D1 T1 is equal to 1 by D2 T2, and also D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2. So this is the density temperature relation. So we have derived two relations, that is volume temperature relation V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, and density temperature relation, that is D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2. So from this relation, if V1 is known, if T1 is known and T2 is known, but V2 is we don't know. So by applying this expression we can write the calculate the value of V2. Similarly in the expression D1 T1 is equal to D2 T2, if D1 is known, means density of first state is known and temperature of first state is known, and the density of second state is known, but temperature of second state does not known. So we can calculate easily the value of temperature by applying the expression D1 T1 is equal to how much? D2 T2. So this is the two expression regarding Charles law. So next part is that how this V1 by T1 is equal to V2 T by T2 can be proved. केमिति V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2 हैला proof करिवा. So next, what is the proof of V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2? That means what is the proof of Charles law? So next we have study regarding proof of Charles law, that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. देखो पिले केमिति V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2 हैला आमे याको स्टडी करिवा, याको प्रूफ करिवा. देखो समझते. So according to actually Charles law, he states another statement, that is main statement is that if the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas increases or decreases by 1 by 273 times of its original volume at 0 degree centigrade for every 1 degree centigrade rise or fall of temperature. माने कौन? माने होची सी कहले at 0 degree centigrade volume टा 0 होबानी. That means suppose मु तुमको explain कर देखो, let it explain. let at 0 degree centigrade, suppose 0 degree centigrade is equal to already know that 273 Kelvin. एउटा फंडामेंटल पार्ट टिके भल माने ऑब्जर्व करो 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड 273 केल्विन. सो ऑब्वियसली 1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड हबो 1 प्लस 273 केल्विन. सिमिलरली 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड हबो 2 प्लस 273 केल्विन. क्लियर. 3 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड सिमिलरली 3 प्लस 273 केल्विन. So we can write T1 degree centigrade. T1 degree centigrade is equal to how much? T1 plus 273 Kelvin. T1 plus 270 Kelvin, which is equal to capital T1 say. That means T1 degree centigrade is equal to T1 plus 270 Kelvin is equal to capital T1 say. Suppose. Similarly, T2 degree centigrade is equal to T2 plus 273 Kelvin, which is equal to capital T2 say. Clear? So what is the Charles law? Statement of Charles law. What is the Charles law actually? According to Charles law, the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas increases or decreases by 1 by 273 times of its original volume for every 1 degree centigrade rise or fall of temperature. This is the Charles law. So from this expression, that is from this statement, we can easily prove the V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So how it can be proved? Let us study regarding how it can be proved, that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Clear? So at 0 degree centigrade, let volume equals to V0. V0 say 0 degree centigrade volume equal to V0. So obviously 1 degree centigrade Charles law अनुसार volume केते हबो ना 1 by 273 times increase करियो. So at 1 degree centigrade volume equals to V0 plus V0 into 1 by 273. Clear? Similarly at 2 degree centigrade रे volume केते हबो ना V0 plus V0 into 2 by 273. So exactly same thing at T1 degree centigrade. जो 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड वॉल्यूम V0 प्लस V0 into 2 by 270 हैला सेंते T1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड वॉल्यूम केता हबो ना V0 plus V0 into T1 divided by 273. Since this is volume, suppose we can take it is V1 से अब हम V1 बोले धरिया. So at T1 degree centigrade volume equals to V0 plus V0 into T1 by 273. Similarly at T2 degree centigrade volume equals to V0 plus V0 into T2 divided by 273, which is equal to V2 say. So V1 equals to V0 तला V1 हमें कौन पाइले V1 equals to V0 plus V0 into T1 by 273. V2 कौन पाइले ना V0 plus V0 into T2 by 273. So let us divide V1 by V2. So let us divide V1 by V2. This implies V1 divided by what? V2. V1 by V2 हमें कितने पाइबा? So V1 divided by V2 equals to V0 plus V0 into T1 divided by 273 divided by V0 plus V0 into T2 by what? 273. Clear? So this implies V1 divided by V2 is equal to how much? Here LCM can be taken 273. आम एठी LCM 273 नहीं परिबा, एठी सेमती LCM 273 नहीं परिबा. जदि LCM 273 नहीं जिबा ताले कोन हो देखो 273 V0 plus V0 into T1. So it 273 कटि जीवो divided by 273 V0 plus V0 into what? T2. So V1 by V2 हमें पाइले 273 V0 plus V0 into T1 divided by 273 V0 plus V0 into what? T2. So here V0 is taken to be common in the numerator as well as denominator side. So V0 whole into 273 plus T1 divided by V0 whole into 273 plus what? T2. So V0 cancel. So here 270 plus T1. देखो मुझे 270 plus T1 को capital T1 लिखी ची और 270 plus T2 को capital T2 लिखी ची. So 270 plus T1 जगह हमें पके परिवा capital T1 and 270 plus T2 जगह लिखी परिवा कौन capital T2. So that means V1 by V2 is equal to T1 by T2. So हमें पाइले V1 divided by V2 is equal to T1 divided by T2. This implies T1 टाको तळु कानिबा ए V2 सेपट निबा तो V1 divided by T1 is equal to how much? V2 divided by T2. Hence proved. आमे प्रूफ कले एटा. Clear? So V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So again I will repeat that So according to Charles law, the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas increases or decreases by 1/273 times of its original volume for every 1 degree centigrade rise or fall of temperature. This is the Charles law actual statement. So at 0 degree centigrade, let volume equal to V0 say. So according to Charles law, 1 degree centigrade, volume equal to V0 plus V0 into 1/273. At 2 degree centigrade, volume equal to V0 plus V0 into 2/273. Similarly, at T1 degree centigrade, volume equal to V0 plus V0 into T1/273, which is equal to capital V1 say. Similarly, at T2 degree centigrade, volume equal to V0 plus V0 T2/273, which is equal to V2 say. So now dividing V1 by V2, so V1 by V2 is equal to V0 plus V0 into T1/273 divided by V0 plus V0 into T2/273. So we have to take an LCM 273. So by 270 can be cancelled. So V1 by V2 is equal to 273 V0 plus V0 T1 divided by 273 V0 plus what? V0 T2. So here V0 is taken to be common. So 270 plus T1 divided by V0 and 270 plus T2. So V0 can be cancelled in the numerator as well as denominator side. So 270 plus T1 by 270 plus T2. So here you see that 270 plus T1 is equal to capital T1 and 270 plus T2 capital T2. So V1 by V2 is equal to T1 by T2, or V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. This is the proof of Charles law. So this is all about the Charles law. Next we have proved what is the graphical verification of Charles law, means how Charles law can be validity, or how Charles law can be proved in graphical method. That is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, means according to Charles law, the volume is directly proportional to temperature keeping the pressure constant. How it can be proved in graphical method? Let it be proved in graphical method. So graph law, Charles law can be verified also by taking a simple graph. आमे ग्राफ को ग्राफिकल मध्यम चार्ल्स लॉ को प्रूव करि परिबा. देखो केम टाइम प्रूव करिबा. देखो so suppose this is the graph. Here volume is taken in y axis and temperature is taken in what? X axis. So obviously this x axis, and by moving along the x axis, positive will be increases, and moving along the y axis also positive charge, positive quantity will increases. So since we know that according to Charles law, if the pressure remaining constant, volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature, that means V is directly proportional to T. So a straight line is obtained, but straight line cannot be obtained by passing through origin. This is the very wrong concept, because according to Charles law, the modified concept of Charles law is that the pressure remaining constant, the volume of given mass of gas increases or decreases. Mind it, increases or decreases by 1/273 times of its original volume for every 1 degree centigrade rise or fall of temperature. Means what? According to Charles law, suppose at 0 degree centigrade is equal to V0. Similarly, 1 degree centigrade, V0 plus V0 into 1/273. Similarly, 2 degree centigrade, V0 plus V0 into 2/273. Clear? तब मैंने 1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड है V0 प्लस V0 into 1/273, 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड है V0 प्लस V0 into 2/273. एक्जाक्टली प्ले जब आम -1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड नवा, इफ यू टेक एट -1 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, देन वॉल्यूम V0 प्लस V0 into -1/273. क्लियर? दैट मीन्स V0 माइनस V0/273. सिमिलरली मुझे -2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड नेबी, ताले V0 -2 into V0/273 डिक्रीज कला. एक्जाक्टली यू सी दैट जदि मु -273 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड नेबी, इफ आई टेक -273 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, देन V0 -273 V0/273. क्लियर? दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. 273 cancel, that means V0 minus V0 is equal to 0. That means at -273 degree centigrade, the volume of given mass of gas is taken to be 0. So that is called absolute 0 or absolute scale of temperature. That is -273 degree centigrade, the volume of given mass of gas is taken to be what? 0. That is called absolute scale of temperature. So by this data, we can easily calculate, or we can easily draw a graph which is clearly verify volume versus what? Temperature. So this is 0, suppose volume equal to V0, say suppose V0, this is V0, at 1 degree centigrade volume V0 plus 1 into V0 by 273 माने V0 to टिके बढ़िला 1 degree centigrade at 2 degree centigrade volume V0 plus 2 into V0 by 273 sim 3 degree centigrade volume V0 plus 3 into V0 by 273 similarly at minus 1 degree centigrade decrease kala V0 minus 1 into V0 by 273 that means decreases at 2 degree centigrade minus 2 into V0 minus 2 into V0 by 273 exactly at minus 273 this is suppose minus 273 degree centigrade volume becomes 0 that is V0 minus 273 V0 divided by 273 that is V0 minus V0 is equal to how much 0. So here we have taken 0 that means a graph will be like this is the graph here pressure P1 similarly if a another pressure increase in pressure P2 this is the graph. So this is the graphical verification this is the P3 so this is the graph by increasing in pressure. So this is a graph between volume versus temperature because at minus 273 degree centigrade volume of given mass of gas is taken to be 0. So this is all about graphical verification as well as Charles law. I think all of you clear. So let us take a little break. So welcome students. In the previous part we have already discussed regarding volume temperature graph that is Charles law. मु पूर्व चार्ल्स लॉ पर वॉल्यूम टेम्परेचर ग्राफ पर कहली और टोटल एक्सप्लेन कली चार्ल्स लॉ टा को टाइप रो डेराइव होची व्हाट इज द इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट एंड व्हाट इज द एक्सप्लेनेटरी पार्ट रिगार्डिंग चार्ल्स लॉ. Now we have calculate a little bit of problem which directly link with Charles law that is V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2 just simple problem we have to calculate. So let us calculate a simple problem. गोटे simple problem पिले करिबा जोटा कि चार्ल्स लॉ को बेस करिक हेछि ठीक है सुना attentively. Suppose there are two states is there. This is the first state, this is the second state, state A, state B. Suppose it is state 1 or state A or this is the state B. At state A, suppose volume is equal to 100 milliliter and temperature T1 is equal to 100 degree centigrade. Clear? Similarly, at state B, volume V2 is equal to suppose 200 milliliter and temperature T2 we don't know, and here pressure is taken to be constant. So here pressure, that means here pressure is constant, that means here P1 also, here P1, that means pressure is taken to be constant. So mind it, if any problem pressure is taken to be constant, so we already know that the problem re pressure ta constant thibo tame clearly bujibo that can obey what Charles law. That means the formula is V1 divided by T1 is equal to how much? V2 divided by what? T2. So V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So we have to calculate the value of what? T2. So V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. This implies V1 into T2. V1 into T2 is equal to V2 into what? T1. So we have to calculate the value of T2. So this implies that T2 equals to V2 into T1 divided by what? V1. So V2 place रे हमें 200 पकेबा. So 200 into T1 100 degree centigrade. T1 100. 100 degree centigrade को जदि हमें केल्विन कर दबा because 100 degree centigrade is equal to 100 plus what? 273 Kelvin. ता माने एटा हला केते 373 Kelvin हे गला. So मु एठी डायरेक्ट 100 degree centigrade T1 जगह रे एटे T1 जगह रे 100 degree centigrade माने मु 373 Kelvin लिखि परिबी. 373 Kelvin divided by what? V1 how much? 100 milliliter. आउ थरे कहूची V1 होच 100 milliliter, T1 100 degree centigrade and V2 200 milliliter. T2 calculate, we have to calculate the value of T2. Since here the pressure is taken to be constant, so we can apply the formula V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. That means V1 into T2 is equal to V2 into T1. So T2 is equal to how much? V2 into T1 divided by what? V1. So V2 place रे हमें 200 पकेले, T1 place रे 100 degree centigrade अच्छी 100 degree centigrade को हम जब Kelvin कर दबा 100 plus 270 that is 370 Kelvin हबो divided by V1. V1 is equal to how much? 100 milliliter. So एटा calculate एटा कटि गले 2 होची. So केते हला ना 2 into 373. Clear? So एटा केते हला हमरो ना एटा 3 2 जा एटा 6 हला 7 14 हले 832 x 7 746 Kelvin, clear. So final temperature we have to calculate, that is 746 Kelvin. So in this type of problem arises in case of Charles law by applying the, just putting the formula V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So these are the just simple problem regarding Charles law. Again we discuss another law, just fundamental part of another law, that is Gay-Lussac's law. Gay-Lussac's law, which is another law, just fundamental part. So what is Gay-Lussac's law? Gay-Lussac's law so according to Gay-Lussac's law, if the volume remaining constant, because Gay-Lussac's law is directly correlated with the pressure as well as temperature. So statement is that if the volume of given mass of gas is taken to be constant, then pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Mind it, according to Charles' law, pressure is constant, volume is directly proportional to temperature. But according to Gay-Lussac's law, if volume of given mass of gas is taken to be constant, then pressure is directly proportional to what? Temperature. Here volume is taken to be what? Constant, means volume and mass. Vn taken to be constant. So P proportional to T. So in this relation we can always write that P is equal to Kt, or P by T is equal to what? K. So in this way you can also write down, that is P1 divided by T1 is equal to how much? P2 divided by T2, clear. So P1 divided by T1 equals to P2 divided by T2. That means this Gay-Lussac's law directly correlated with pressure as well as what? Temperature. That means Gay-Lussac's law, since Charles' law is related with volume temperature, but Gay-Lussac's law is related with pressure and temperature, clear. That is P1 by T1 is equal to how much? P2 by T2. So this Gay-Lussac's law. Next very important part, which is directly correlated with Boyle's law as well as Charles' law, we have discussed. Please listen mindfully. That is combined gas law, which is very, very important. Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. So the Gay-Lussac's law, temperature, that means pressure temperature relation, that means P is direct proportional to T. So P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2. So this Gay-Lussac's law. Again we next part is, that is combined gas law. Combined gas law, that means combined gas equation is very, very important equation, which directly relate with Boyle's law as well as what? Charles' law. So next part is combined gas law, that is combined gas equation, clear. Combined gas equation. Combined gas equation. Hello. कौन क्वेश्चन कहतु?
हेलो.
हाँ हेलो. हाँ क्वेश्चन कौन अच्छी कहतु?
हेलो.
हेलो. हेलो. Okay, perhaps link कटि जाउछि. Combined gas equation. So what is combined gas equation actually? Combined gas equation actually the equation which is obtained by the combination of Boyle's law and Charles. That means this equation gives the simultaneous effect of pressure as well as temperature with a given mass of gas, clear. This equation gives a simultaneous effect of pressure as well as temperature at a given mass of gas. That means this equation is obtained overall by the combination of what? Boyle's law as well as what? Charles' law. So you listen that according to Boyle's law, this is very important relation actually, very important equation which is obtained overall by the combination of Boyle's law what? Charles' law. So according to Boyle's law, V is inversely proportional to P, keeping temperature and N constant, clear. Similarly, according to Charles' law, V is directly proportional to T, where P and N what? Constant. P and N constant. So according to Boyle's law, V is inverse proportional to P. According to Charles' law, V proportional to T. Suppose this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Clear? Now by combining 1 and 2, because combined gas equation is nothing but a simultaneous effect, it gives a simultaneous effect of pressure as temperature for a given mass of gas. Clear? So V proportional to 1 by P according to Boyle's law, according to Charles' law, V proportional to T, where P and N is taken to be constant. So by combining 1 and 2, we get V proportional to T by P. Hello? Hello?
हेलो
हाँ कुहतु
हेलो सर नमस्कार
नमस्कार
हेलो
हाँ कुहतु क्वेश्चन कुहतु आपनकर
सर नमस्कार
नमस्कार कुहतु
सर
क्वेश्चन कौन थिला कुहतु
रही
क्वेश्चन टा कुहतु आपनकर टीवी वॉल्यूम टे कम करंतु क्वेश्चन टा कुहतु
सर कंबाइन गैस लॉ रे कोन दीटा मास गैस मिस्टेक रही
कंबाइन गैस इक्वेशन कौन कहले आउथरे कहले क्वेश्चन टा
सर कंबाइन गैस लॉ रे कोन दीटा गैस मिस्टेक रही
कंबाइन गैस इक्वेशन दीटा गैस नुहे एक्चुअली कंबाइन गैस इक्वेशन होची इट इज द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ बॉयल्स लॉ चार्ल्स लॉ different states law, that is two law, we can combine two law for a given mass of gas. Okay, so we can combine Boyle's law as well as Charles law for a given mass of gas because it is a simultaneous effect of pressure and temperature for a given mass of gas. So okay, so according to Boyle's law, V proportional to 1 by P, T and N constant. According to Charles law, V proportional T, P and N what constant. So by combining two law, that is Boyle's law and Charles law, V proportional T by P. So this implies by cross multiplication we can write PV proportional to T, or this implies PV is equal to how much KT, PV is equal to KT, or this implies PV divided by T is equal to K. Clear? PV divided by T is equal to how much K. Similar state, suppose in the first state pressure is P1, volume V1, temperature T1, and similarly for the second state pressure P2, volume V2 and temperature what T2. So we can write P1 V1 by T1 is equal to K. Similarly we can write P2 V2 divided by T2 is equal to how much K. So P1 V1 by T1 equal to K and P2 V2 by T2 is equal to what K. So since RHS side equal, we have to equalize the LHS side, that's why P1 V1 divided by T1 is equal to how much P2 V2 by what T2. P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, where P1 and P2 pressure of first state, second state, V1 V2 volume of two states of gas, temperature T1 T2, different temperature. That is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, because this equation, that is combined gas law or combined gas equation, is quietly obtained by the combination of Boyle's law as well as Charles law. The equation is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. This equation quite relate with pressure, volume as well as what temperature, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So again how it can be proved, that means eta kemiti proof hela P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, how it can be proved, let us study. So P1 V1 by T1, P2 V2 by T2, this is the combined gas equation, this is the first expression. A combined gas equation pile kemiti proof hoche taka ame ebe padhiba. So we have to prove that P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much P2 V2 by T2. So this is the first, second, this is the third. This is changed by Boyle's law. This is changed by Boyle's law. And this is the change by Charles law. This is the change by Boyle's law, this is change by what Charles law. We have to prove what P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So Boyle's law, pressure P1, volume V1 changes to pressure P2 and volume V say. So since in case of Boyle's law temperature is taken to be constant, So, here suppose temperature T1 since constant, that is why here T1, number of mole constant here N1 and also here what N1. That means according to Boyle's law. So, from this change by Boyle's law we can write, by Boyle's law change we can write, by Boyle's law change we can write what, P1 V1 is equal to how much, P2 into V, clear. So, by Boyle's law change we can write P1 V1 is equal to how much, P2 into V. So, this implies V is equal to how much, P1 V1 divided by P2, clear. So, V is equal to P1 V1 by P2. Again change by Charles law, Charles law, suppose this is V1 changes to V2, V changes to V2, temperature T1 changes to T2, clear. So, here pressure is taken to be constant. So, pressure is taken to be constant means here P2 means here also P2, here N1 means number of mole, here also N1, clear. चेंज बाय जेहेतु चार्ल्स लॉ रे एटा हमें चार्ल्स लॉ रे एटा V1 को V1 V नि हैछि चेंजेस टू V2 एठे जेहेतु प्रेशर टा कांस्टेंट अछि सो एटे P2 अछि आ टेंपरेचर T1 टा चेंजेस टू व्हाट T2, क्लियर. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू चार्ल्स लॉ, by that is by Charles law change we can write, by Charles law change, by Charles law change we can write, Charles law change रे हम लिख परिबा V by T1 we can write V by T1 is equal to how much, V2 by T2, clear. So, this implies V by T1 is equal to V2 divided by T2, clear. That is V by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So, V by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, that means V is how much, V by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. So, V is how much, V2 into T1 by T2, V is equal to V2 into T1 divided by what, T2. So, देखो Boyle's law change हमें पाइले V is equal to P1 V1 by P2, Charles law change रे पाइले हमें V is equal to V2 T1 by what, T2. So, since V will be same, जेहेतु V same अच्छी, so हमें लिख परिबा कौन लिख परिबा. So, since V will be same we can write P1 V1 by P2 is equal to how much, V2 T1 by T2, clear. So, P1 V1 divided by P2, P1 V1 divided by P2 is equal to how much, V2 T1 divided by what, T2, clear. So, P1 V1 by P2 is equal to V2 T1 by what, T2. So, a T1 टाको मुझे तलुक आनिबी P2 को ऊपर नेबी ताल दिस इंप्लाइज हम लिख परिबा P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much, P2 V2 by what, T2. So, this proves combined gas equation, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much, P2 V2 by T2. So, again I will repeat, combined gas equation is nothing but a simultaneous effect of pressure and temperature with respect to a volume of given mass of gas. So, actually this combined gas equation is obtained by combination of Boyle's law as well as Charles law. So, according to Boyle's law V is inverse proportional to pressure, according to Charles law V proportional to T, keeping the pressure constant. So, by combining this Boyle's law and Charles law we already derive a relation, that is pressure volume relation, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So, how P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2 can be proved. So, it can be changed by Boyle's law and also changed by Charles law. Suppose the first P1 changes to P2 Boyle's law, V1 changes to V. जेहेतु Boyle's law रे temperature, since in case of Boyle's law temperature is taken to be constant, so here T1, here also T1, number of mole constant N1, here also N1. Similarly changed by Charles law, so here V1 changes to, that means V changes to V2, temperature T1 changes to what, T2. Since pressure is taken to be constant, that is why here P2 and here number of mole N1 and here number of mole what, N1. So, change by Boyle's law means P1 V1 is equal to P2 V. So, P1 V1 P2 V. So, V is equal to P1 V1 by P2. Again change by Charles law change, that means V by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, So, V by T1 is equal to V2 by T2 means V is equal to V2 T1 by what, T2. So, since V will be same, so P1 V1 by P2 is equal to V2 T1 by T2. So, T1 टाको तळुक आणले P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much, P2 V2 by T2. So, this is the proof of what, combined gas equation. So, let us take a little break. So, again welcome students. So, we have already derived that is a combined gas equation, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much, P2 V2 by T2. So here you see that a relation तुम देखो आमे pressure volume temperature relation किसी derive कले. So from this data we can also derive pressure density as well as temperature. So how pressure density can be as well as temperature can be proved by using what combined gas equation, which this combined gas equation is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. So here pressure volume temperature, but we can derive the pressure density as well as temperature relation. So आम प्रेशर डेंसिटी टेम्परेचर रिलेशन पे आपको डेराइव करवा देख. सिंस आम जानिचे सिंस वॉल्यूम इज इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू डेंसिटी, so this implies we can write V1 proportional to 1 by D1, similarly V2 proportional to what 1 by D2. V1 V2 volume of first second gas, D1 D2 density of first second gas respectively. So a place रे V1 place रे आमे 1 by D1 लिख परिबा और V2 place रे 1 by D2 लिख परिबा. ता माने this implies P1 into 1 by D1 divided by T1 is equal to P2 into 1 by D2 divided by what T2. So P1 into 1 by D1 by T1 is equal to P2 into 1 by D2 by T2. So this implies we can write P1 divided by D1 T1 is equal to how much P2 divided by D2 T2. Clear? So this is the pressure density temperature relation, that is P1 by D1 T1 is equal to how much P2 by D2 T2. So we can derive two equation regarding combined gas equation, that is pressure volume relation, and second one is pressure density temperature relation. Pressure volume temperature relation is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. Similarly pressure density temperature relation is P1 by D1 T1 is equal to how much P2 by D2 T2. So this is all about the combined gas equation. So we can solve a little bit of problem which is directly correlated with what combined gas equation. आमे गोटे छोटो problem पिले करिवा जोटा कि combined gas equation को correlate करूची. देखो समझते. So combined gas equation, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. If all the given conditions are there, that is P1 is there, V1 is there, T1 is there, P2 is there, T2 is there, but V2 is not there. So we can easily calculate by value of V2 by using this formula, that is P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much P2 V2 by T2. Suppose you have to take a little bit of a fundamental problem. Suppose pressure of first gas is 3 by 2 times pressure of second gas, that means P1 is equal to 3 by 2 P2, and temperature of first gas suppose 300 Kelvin and temperature of second gas T2 is equal to 400 Kelvin. So question hoche calculate the ratio between volume, that is V1 by V2. So calculate the ratio of two gases, volume of two gases, that is V1 by V2. How can be calculated? That means pressure of question is that pressure of first gas is 3 by 2 times pressure of second gas, temperature of first gas is 300 Kelvin, temperature of second gas is 400 Kelvin. So we have to calculate the ratio between volume of two gases, that is V1 by V2 we have to calculate. So देखो पिला हमें सॉल्व करिवा. हमर एटी फार्मूला अछि. व्हाट इज द फार्मूला? दैट इज P1 V1 by T1 is equal to how much P2 V2 by T2. So formula is P1 V1 divided by T1 is equal to how much P2 V2 by what T2. Clear? So P1 place since P1 3 by 2 P2, because pressure of first gas is 3 by 2 times pressure of what second gas. So P1 जेहेतु 3 by 2 P2 अच्छे, ताल this implies आमे लिखि परिबा P1 जगह 3 by 2 P2 into V1 divided by T1. T1 is how much 300 Kelvin divided by 300 is equal to, clear, is equal to V2 is equal to what P2 V2 by T2 is equal to P2 into V2 divided by T2 is how much 400 Kelvin. T2 is equal to 400 Kelvin. Clear? So we have to calculate what V1 by V2. So here P2 will be cancelled. So 0 0 can be cancelled. That means कौन हैला ना एटा हैला 3 by 2 V1 divided by 3. ताला हमें कौन पाइले देखो 3 by 2 into V1 divided by 3 is equal to केते ना V2 divided by what 4. ता माने हमें लिखि परिबा this implies 3 V1 divided by multiply हो 3 V1 by 6 is equal to 3 V1 by 6 is equal to what V2 by 4. Clear? ता माने एटा कटि गले एटा केते 2 हे जाउची. ताले दिस इम्प्लाइज V1/2 जदि हबो V2/4 ताले V1 by V2 केते 2/4 हे जिवो ताले एठी मु लिखुची सो V1 divided by V2 is equal to 2/4 is equal how much 1/2 ता माने हमें रेशियो बिटवीन देयर वॉल्यूम is equal to how much 1/2 so this type of problem can be useful very useful problem a fundamental problem that is by using combined gas equation हमें combined gas equation use करी के fundamental problem करि परिबा जो थरे कि प्रेशर वॉल्यूम टेम्परेचर गिवन कंडीशन देथिबो एटलीस्ट जनकर देइ नथिबो हमें कैलकुलेशन कर परिबा एंड आल्सो प्रेशर मध्य कैलकुलेशन कर परिबा जदि समस्तकर वॉल्यूम टेम्परेचर देथिबो ताले जनकर प्रेशर देइ नथिबो so we have to also calculate the value of pressure by using the expression P1 V1 by T1 is equal how much P2 V2 by T2 so this is all about the combined gas equation that is combined gas law. So let us start another equation. Let us start another equation which is called as the this is also very important equation that is called as the ideal gas equation. Clear? So ideal gas equation. Ideal gas equation. This is a very fundamental equation actually. The equation which is obtained by the combination of Boyle's law, Charles' law and Avogadro's law under all given condition of temperature and pressure that is called ideal gas equation. Clear? So जो equation हमें तीनटा equation combination पाइबा that is Boyle's law, Charles' law as well as what Avogadro's law. So you listen that according to Boyle's law अनुसार according to Boyle's law V is inversely proportional to P keeping temperature T and N constant. Similarly, according to Charles' law, V is directly proportional to T, keeping P and N constant. Clear? So Boyle's law answer V inverse proportional to P, Charles' law answer V direct proportional to T, and according to Avogadro's law, because a statement is that in case of basic concept, that is the first part. According to Avogadro's law, this Avogadro's hypothesis states that equal volume of all gases under similar condition of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules. That means V is directly proportional to N. V is directly proportional to N number of moles. So V is directly proportional to what? N. That means pressure as well as temperature is taken to be constant. So here you see that V proportional to 1 by P. Here you see that V proportional to T, and here you see that V proportional to N. So Boyle's law answer V proportional to 1 by P nele. Charles' law answer V proportional to T nele. Avogadro's law answer V proportional to what? N nele. This implies, I mean, combine by combining this Boyle's law, by combining this Charles' law, by combining this Avogadro's law. So what is the combination part? This implies V proportional to 1 by P into T into N. Clear? So V proportional to 1 by P into T into what? N. So this implies we can write V proportional to NT divided by what? P. Clear? So V proportional to NT by P. So by cross multiplication we get V proportional to NT by P. I mean the cross multiplication kariba. This implies we can write PV proportional to NT. Clear? So PV proportional to what? NT. So PV proportional to NT. This implies here proportional symbol is there. So if you omit this proportional symbol or if you eradicate this proportional symbol, so obviously you have to substitute a constant. So we can write PV is equal to RNT. Clear? PV is equal to how much? RNT. What is R? R is a constant that is called molar gas constant or universal gas constant. Clear? So PV is equal to RNT, or this implies I am like PV is equal to how much? nRT. Clear? So PV is equal to nRT. This is the first expression regarding ideal gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT. So how to explain kariya. Let again repeat it. We know that according to Boyle's law, that is V is inverse proportional to P, keeping temperature and number of mole constant. According to Charles' law, V proportional to T, here P and N constant. According to Avogadro's law, V proportional to N. Okay. So here V proportional to 1 by P, V proportional to T and V proportional to N. Boyle's law V proportional to 1 by P, Charles' law V proportional to T and Avogadro's law V proportional to N. So by combining three equations, that is V proportional to 1 by P into T into N, that means V proportional to NT by P. So here you see that proportional symbol, that means if you cross multiplication we get PV proportional to NT, So here proportional symbol is there. So if you omit this proportional symbol or if you eradicate this proportional symbol, so you have to substitute obviously a constant, that is R, that is PV is equal to RNT or PV is equal to what? nRT. This is the first expression regarding ideal gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT. So since N, we know that N is equal to number of mole means double by M, mass in gram by molecular mass. So we can also write PV is equal to double by M into RT. So this is the second expression of what? Ideal gas equation. So this is all about ideal gas equation. I think all of you clear about that. So I think you stay safe and keep smile always inside the home. Thanks to all of you.
ଏହି କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମର ସହ ପ୍ରାୟୋଜକ ଥିଲେ